Hey guys, this is Dr. Hadi here, and we're back for another exciting episode of Haz and Hadi. And today I have a very special guest. His name is Joe Grillo. Great guy, known him a long time. He's in charge of our whole laboratory operation, but there's a lot more to him, and I think he's got some really great info to share with you guys today and some really good stories. So without further ado, Joe Grillo.
Yay. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Call him Big
Nice to
Joe
be
for the
here.
episode. Big Joe.
Big Joe.
Not that
Joey
big,
Juice. He's actually very short.
He do look kind of juiced up.
Oh, that's short.
He's short. It's okay.
Son of a...
Listen, this guy, he'll wear like these shoes that have a little heel in them just to look a little bit higher.
now you're
But it's okay.
talking-
All right, I don't want to go there right now.
Damn, he ain't wasting no
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
I love
man.
Joe. I love this guy. I love this
It's messed
guy.
up.
Don't worry. Listen, hey, whatever. I can tell you about his wedding party. We'll get into it later. Don't worry about it. Anyway. So, Joe, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so 43 years old. I met Mo, how long now? Probably about 12, 13, maybe even 14 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm from Massapequa. And I've been working with Mo for about 13 years now. So,
Wow, over a decade.
yeah, oh yeah.
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 How
been a
has
fun
that-
ride.
How has that experience working with Mo?
Oh, it's been awesome.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's really been. Mo is one of the best guys I know.
Thank you, Joe.
Before I met Mo, I've had some interesting, job experiences, and but after I met Mo, we hit it off, and he actually kind of made me, for lack of a better, phrase, who I am today, man. We
Oh, no, stop,
we
Joe. You're
we
too
went
nice.
through. No, it's the truth.
Oh,
we
wow.
went through a lot of stuff, and here we are. And 13 years later, I'm still working with Mo. We're great friends. I know his family, so it's awesome.
So Joe had a lot of interesting jobs prior to this job, which is very stable. It's been probably his only stable job he's had.
It's true. That's true.
But so tell us a little bit about that, Joe. Tell us about before you got into the lab world, the medical laboratory world, and everything. Before the stability and everything. Tell us a little about those wild times and
Okay.
everything. Tell us, Joe.
Well, as I was growing up, I didn't really know, obviously, which a lot of people don't know what they want to do with their life, right?
Sure.
So I've had a lot of jobs, a lot of job interviews, a lot of jobs that I've had for, not a very long time, right? So I have a couple of stories that are pretty funny. So I'll pick a few here, but so there was this one job that I had. See, I'm a very good interviewer. Okay, so I could go on interviews. First impressions are very important, right? I put on a good first impression.
That's important.
So there was this one job that I had. Okay, it was after a whole bunch of crap jobs that I went to, didn't like, left, whatever, right? So I get this one job. They call me up. It was a job for a printer and copier company, right?
Okay.
So, but they took this really seriously. Okay. So I go on the first interview. I kill it. The guy's like, Joe, we have to interview a couple more people. This is going to be a little bit of a process, so it may take a month or two to figure out if you're the candidate for it, right? Okay. Calls me up a couple of weeks later. Joe, we want to get you for your second interview. Perfect. Go in there. I kill that one. Then a couple of weeks after that, he gets me for my third interview, and he goes, this is going to be the final interview. So if you get the job, we'll call you in a few days.
Good.
It was probably 2 months after the initial one, right? So I go to that interview. A couple of days go by, and he gives me a call. He goes, Joe, great news. You got the job. Now, remind you, it's for a copier and printer company. Now, again, I don't know what the hell I want to do with my life.
Right.
I don't know what the hell I was going to be doing. I knew I was going to be selling copiers and printers. Doesn't sound really that interesting, right? So gets better. I show up for the first day of the job. The guy takes me into his office. He's like, Joe, we're going to set you up in your spot. I'm going to give you a couple of instruction manuals for the copiers and the printers. I want you to just go through them and, get yourself acquainted with, those kind of things.
Get familiar with it.
Right. So I'm like, okay, yeah, no doubt. Sounds good. So he shows me my spot. He shows me the supply room. I get my pens, my pads. I put it on my desk. He brings me over to my desk. He slaps on the desk this high, right? Like maybe 4 or 5 instruction manuals of these printers and copiers. He goes, just look at these, get yourself familiar with them, read through them, and then we'll go to the demo room and we'll play with the machines, and so you're gonna know what you're doing. Okay, great. So he goes into his office. I sit back in my desk.
Wait, he wanted you to do this in what, 5 minutes? Go through all this?
It was like the first day.
Okay.
So I sit back on my chair, right, and I'm looking at these manuals, and I'm like, what the fuck? I don't, so I looked at the first couple of index, the directions, all this shit. And I look back, I'm like, I'm by myself. And I said out loud, I'm like, I can't do this shit, right? So I get my jacket.
Yeah.
I walk over to his office, knock on his door. He goes, yeah, Joe, can I help you?
Yeah.
I'm like, I quit. He goes,
Just
what?
like that?
He goes,
So how long were you employed? 10 minutes?
probably 2 hours. Yeah.
Okay.
He goes, what do you mean you quit? He didn't even try it. He's like, I go, listen, I cannot read instruction manuals for copies and printers. He goes, but it was a 3-month process. I turned down all these candidates.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I apologize. And he's talking to me while I'm like, I'm
Joe.
sorry, I got to go. I walk out, and that was the end of that.
How, was the pay good?
It wasn't great. It was probably, the base salary was probably like $35,000,
Back then.
Back then.
What year
yeah.
was this?
I graduated college in 2002, so I would say probably 2005, 2006, something like that. Yeah. So that was it's just.
Well, I want to ask you something. So, okay, you went to college, right? You went to Siena College.
I did.
Right?
Yeah.
And, I see this more and more nowadays, right? People are getting undergraduate degrees. No graduate studies, nothing like just a 4-year degree, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Arts, whatever it is. And a lot of times it's pretty much useless. Like it's not
Totally.
It's not even for like the degree they have, the job they end up doing, it has nothing to do with it. There's no relatability
Nothing
whatsoever,
at all.
Right?
You can probably go to a lot of colleges now,
Right.
even back then, and you can ask somebody, "Hey, what are you studying?" "Oh, I'm studying, such and such, marketing, management, business."
Right.
A lot of those times, it's because people don't know what they want to do.
Sure. So I saw this thing. It said, college is a scam. And, as someone who's, I guess technically I'm a higher education person. I have a doctorate. I have all this stuff. I have fellowship. I have all these things. I'm gonna have to agree with that because undergraduate, unless you're doing something going forward after, whether it's a graduate, PhD, master, something like that. Or you're going towards a goal, like you want to be a dentist or a lawyer
Right.
or an accountant or something, or pharmacist or a doctor.
Or some
something.
trade.
Some kind of trade is separate, right? Trade school is completely
Right,
separate.
okay.
That obviously has a value. But just a basic 4-year degree, it's just basically putting all these young people in a lot of debt. And they're coming out and they have all these loans, student loans, right? And college is very expensive now. I don't know. What are the stats now? It's like
Who knows? It's probably 30,000.
No, I'll tell you. It's about on a private institution, a young person is probably putting in about with living expenses $50 to $60K a year.
Yeah.
Okay, 50 to 60K, $200,000 plus in debt, and now they can't even get a job.
Right.
That has nothing like that degree did not excel them or get them a
Right.
job.
But see, the thing is
right?
that's like the that's what's put out when you're younger, right? You go to school.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Then you go to college, right?
Right.
And then you get a job. But that's just not how it works. And a lot of people look, college is fun, right? Don't get me wrong. I had a lot of fun in college. Do I remember half the shit that I learned? No,
No, of
I
course,
don't.
of
Right?
course.
I learned how to drink a lot. I remember I did that, right?
That's it.
Right.
Yeah,
but
I think it's a scam. I mean, myself having a college degree and look at what I'm doing now, it's like
what was your major?
a philosophy, psychology, and liberal arts.
Okay, so do you do anything right now with philosophy? Nothing, right?
Nothing. And you, it's funny because I think if you're not a doctor or you're going to be a lawyer, it's like in 2024, it's so much other ways to make a living and to make a productive living.
Right.
And to do something rewarding. A lot of these people, I have a friend who graduated from Stanford University, Ivy League school, debt up to the ceiling.
Right.
I mean, when I'm talking about 150, 180, these
Yeah,
numbers,
easy,
I'm like,
easy,
what are you
yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
you owe a school this much.
Yeah.
But the thing about it,
Plus interest.
Kids are waking a lot of kids are waking up now. They like, nah, I'm not going that way. I'm gonna go and do a TikTok page.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Right.
Well, at least they're debt free.
Right, exactly,
You know what I mean?
But again, it's like what you're supposed to do, right? That's what you learn when you're younger, or at least back years ago.
Right.
You know, you go to school, you go to college. You're not going to get a job if you don't go to college.
Right.
But that's not the way it is anymore.
You know, I saw a lot of big corporations too. I'm not saying you got to go work for a big corporation, but a lot of big corporations have given up that standard. Like they've done away with that prerequisite of having a college degree. So a lot of these entry level positions where before you needed a 4-year bachelor degree or a 4-year some kind of liberal arts degree, whatever it was, that's gone now.
Yeah.
Look, even for you, when I met Joe too, he was working for a laboratory. It was I think I don't want to say the name, but whatever. He was working for that laboratory company just to have a sales position in that.
You need to have a 4-year degree.
You had to have a 4-year, even though it had nothing to do with anything. It just was a minimum requirement. But I would bet now they've probably done away with that. You know,
Absolutely.
I don't know if those companies still have. I don't know if they do.
More and more are, Joe. I'm telling you, more
Yeah.
and more day by day.
Even in the Board of Ed, a lot of people don't know that's my background, education. So even now, some of the administrative level positions, they're looking at how much experience you have now. They're not even like, okay, before it was like, you got to have, in order to get this amount of pay, you got to have a 4-year, you got to have a master's.
Right.
Now they're like, because what's happening is a lot of these positions are getting these people and they're not doing the job.
That's what I was just going to say. Experience is better than somebody who has a 4-year degree but still doesn't know how to talk to people or do what they're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
So it makes complete sense.
What good are they if they can't do the job?
Right. So yeah, I agree with you on the whole. Listen, college is cool. It's fun. If you know where you're going and what you want to do, then absolutely 100%. That's where you should go. But if you're kind of not certain, then it may not be.
Of time.
Waste
of money and waste of time.
Waste of money. Yeah, exactly.
You heard it from him.
Yeah, it's the truth, man.
Heard it straight from Joe.
Yeah, straight from me.
And Joe knows.
Yeah, Joe knows.
Joe knows.
Yeah, please.
So tell us another good job, Joe, that you didn't end up using
So I
your
can tell you
degree
this.
for.
I can tell you this story. It's actually pretty funny. So remember back in the day when mortgages were like the big thing, right?
Mortgage scams. Oh yeah.
So a lot of my buddies worked for this company. I won't say the name, but they were killing it, man. They were absolutely killing
subprime
it.
mortgages.
There you go.
Come on,
killing it, right?
Yeah.
So I got into this job later on, right? And when I started working there, I became very close with a couple of guys. There were these Italian guys from Brooklyn, right?
You're Italian too, right?
I'm Italian too. Can you tell?
Yeah, I just wanted to let the viewers know.
No, I thought it was Latino. I don't know.
So listen, I'll tell you this. I worked for the company for only 3 months. Okay,
another short
stint. But listen, so the reason how I ended it was this. So I started working for the company. I closed a few loans, right? But then these guys were what my father would call movers and shakers, right?
Yeah, I remember
They're the people
that.
who they before they worked for this company, they were stockbrokers. They did all that kind of stuff. They made quick money, all that stuff, right? So after a few months, I closed a few loans. It wasn't anything crazy. The guys come to me. They go take me to lunch, and they go, Joe, we like you. Listen, we're gonna open up our own mortgage company.
Right.
We want you to come with us. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do a smash and grab.
What the hell is
a
Smash and grab?
I'm like, a smash and grab? What are you talking about? They're like, well, when the office closes, we're going to come in. I have the key. I made a copy. And we're all going to come. It was 4 guys, okay? I was the youngest, okay? I was the youngest out of all.
Sure.
Yeah, I have the key. We're going to come in after hours when the cleaning people are here. It was in a huge building.
Right.
We're going to open up the door, and the lights have to be off, and we're going to photocopy all of the files.
Oh,
okay?
So basically stealing the work.
And
starting
and then we're going to start a new company. So they're like,
they hired you as an accomplice.
Right. So they're like, Joe, are you with us? I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. You know, like,
Joe!
what am I doing, right?
Joe!
So, all right, meet us here at this time, right? We'll wait. We had to. It was like a fucking movie. Excuse my language.
Yeah, right.
We had to wait
Unplug, Joe.
We had to wait for the security to troll the building, right? One at a time, we all have these boxes, and we're running in the building, right, into the stairwell, right?
Joe.
So I was the last one. So we get in the stairwell. The security guy goes on his little route. Now we're in the stairwell. The lights are off in the stairwell, mind you.
Sure.
So long story short, we get to the room. Now we lock the door. The lights are off. They're photocopying all the shit, right?
Sure.
Right. We're putting him. I was the guy who had to put him in the boxes. Right? I was the guy taking him and putting him in the boxes. Right. I put him in the boxes. Now, obviously, I know this. It's not right. It's not the best thing to do. But listen, dude, I was a young kid trying to figure out what I was doing in life.
And you wanted to belong.
And I wanted right. And these guys, these
like,
Italian guys, took a liking to me. I was like, cool, man, let's go.
So you thought you were in Goodfellas?
I thought it was. I was like, this is gonna be badass, right?
It's an episode of Sopranos.
Right, exactly. Right. So now they photocopy all this shit. They were like experts at this. I don't know if they did it before, but it was crazy, dude. It was like it was literally like a conveyor belt, dude. It was like this guy, boom, this guy, boom. And I was the last guy putting in the boxes. It was like fucking 6 boxes, right? So now we're all done, and we had to leave the building now. So now we're like, shit. We don't know. The door's closed. We can't see
what's going on.
So yeah. So one guy had to go. It was crazy. So we're in the stairwell, dude. I was the last guy. I had 2 boxes in my hand. Yeah. When I walked down the stairs, like it was in slow motion, bro. I slipped on the top step. The box went in the air. All the pages started falling a little bit. It's like Grillo, what the fuck? Right? So I had to shove them in the boxes, dude. It was absolutely insane. Long story short, we got away with it. Okay, we got out of the building. We got away with it. We had to meet at the Dunkin' Donuts. Meet us at the Dunkin' Donuts down the block. Then at Dunkin' Donuts down the block. Okay, so again, let's go back to Joe doesn't have all these great jobs. I worked for their new company for like, another 3 months. And then I was like, guys, this shit ain't for me. And fucking left. I don't know how much longer they stayed open for, but.
Listen, man, all those guys, it was just like, it was such a crooked thing because those subprime mortgages, they were giving people crazy rates who they knew couldn't afford it. And that's what really caused that 2008 financial crisis.
That's it, yeah.
You remember that? Yeah. 2008, the market crashed, everything crashed, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It all came from these companies, these subprime mortgage companies.
And nowadays, most of them aren't open anymore, right?
No, it's all done. Yeah, I mean, it's regulated now. I mean, you can't do that anymore.
Did you make any money with the new company?
I closed a couple of loans, but it wasn't worth it. And maybe also I didn't want to do that shit, right? So it's kind of, and those guys weren't like they weren't the epitome of the upstanding guys. So you
didn't see a future with them,
right?
This
is the journey of. Trying to figure out what you want to do in life, right? Look, some people learn at an early age. They know for a fact what they want to do, and they do it. Some people learn at the middle of their life. Some people don't know still what they want to do with their life, right? It's just that you learn, when you know. And listen, I'm 43 years old, and I figured out what I want to do, right? Yeah. It took me a long time though, right? But there's, dude, like when you're young. And you kind of lost. You try to find your way, and you do everything you can to figure it out. But a lot of those times you do those things, it's not what you want to do, right? And it makes you not happy. Right. It makes you depressed.
Sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
And it's like you're trying to just figure out who you are. And unfortunately, it got figured out in my life. But again, there are people who still don't know what they want to do, right? So it's just that's just the way it is, but it was a wild ride, man. It really was, because I would come home and my dad'd be like, "How was that interview?" I'd be like, "Oh, it was great. You want to do it?" "Nah." With Joe, what the fuck are you gonna do? I'm like, I paid for your college. What are we doing here? I'm like, well, I'll figure it out at some point, Dad.
It's like, Dad, you made a mistake.
Yeah. Because when the parents pay, they want the ROI.
Yeah, of course, man. And I had an old school Italian dad.
Listen, you don't know Joe's dad, Mr. Grillo. This guy is amazing. Look, he, I would go to him for advice. I mean, he gave some of the best advice. And, we had some really good times, with him. And, tragically, a few years ago, he had, his heart gave out and he passed away, may he rest in peace. But, he really, like, I have to tell you, I miss this man. I'm sure Joe misses him, but I'm telling you, anytime,
No
Anytime,
idea.
even if I had a problem or dilemma, I know I could call him or go to him, and he would give you. First of all, he'd make you feel better. Number one.
Yeah, that was.
right. And especially
Always.
if you screwed up, he'd yell at you first,
Yeah.
right? He'd call you all kinds of
And then
stuff.
he'd be like, "What are you
And
worried
then he'd be
about?
like-
I'll take
And then
care
he'd be
of it."
like, "Don't worry, I'll take care. Forget about it." You know.
Yeah.
He'd be like, I mean, he was the man, and
he
he
was, man.
really and he would tell you what to do. So you're sitting there, you're like torn between 10 different things. What do I do? This and that. He'd be like, stop, and he'd just tell you like, this is what you got to do. And if you did what he said, you'd be okay.
I know it's funny you
most
said
of the
that
time,
too.
You'd be
'Cause,
okay.
Every time everybody has a problem, they would talk to my dad, and
Yeah.
they're like, "Yeah, man, your father's great. He just, now I figured out what I want to do.
Yeah,
now I figured out this problem out." I'm like, fucking-
and you would think something so complicated, Joe, and he would just break it down and make it simple.
Yeah, well, he loved you very much, man.
I
Yeah.
loved him too. He would just make it so simple, and he'd be like, "All right, man, this is what you're gonna do." And I'd be like, "All right," and it worked. I was like, "All right,
that
thank
guy.
you."
Being so close to your dad, how do you operate now, being that he's not here?
Dude, that is a loaded question, bro. It's not easy, man. I honestly I talk to him every. I told myself I wasn't gonna get upset because before this I was like, we're gonna talk. I know my dad, my pops is gonna come up, but even downstairs I was talking about him with one of the workers, and I started getting upset. It's tough, dude. It really is, man.
Your dad is.
He was just. As a matter of fact, just last night I was talking to somebody who brought up my dad, and I was telling him how just like simple things, right? Just like stupid little simple things, like you go to your father, who's the wisest guy that you know.
Sure.
He's been through a lot of stuff, and like for anything.
No pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended. But what I'm saying, like, it's tough, Hassan. To answer your question, man, it's literally tough. And I speak to him all day long, all the time, man. Just the other day actually was his 5-year anniversary of his passing, which was on March 26th, and I went to the cemetery. And I was like, and I'm sure a lot of people do this, but in my head, I was like talking out loud to his,
Sure.
to the,
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm just like talking out loud, I was like, just fucking, it's crazy, man. Just all the, but I still ask him questions. I'm hopefully I think he's giving me the answers. I think, but it's tough, man, because now I have 3 kids, right? So, I want that to be them, and it's a crazy cycle, man. But no, losing your father or anybody for that matter, it's just not easy. It's not an easy thing, especially when it's, he was the first one really that was the closest in my family that, I lost. That meant a lot to me. You know what I mean? So, and he was the best, man. He really was. He was just like the wisest guy. Like he just knew everything. It was crazy, So
Yeah, I lost my dad 2017.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and my question to you is that something I struggled with was like I felt numb at first. Like I didn't know how to feel. I was just like, am I supposed to be sad?
Yep.
Am I supposed to be mad?
Fucking crazy you said that, dude.
I swear,
said the
bro.
same shit.
I'm like, am I supposed to be mad? Am
Yep.
I supposed to cry right now because they're crying?
Right.
Am I
And if
supposed
I'm
to
not
be-
crying, is
Am I-
that
am I
wrong with me? Like,
Right,
that's
right.
exactly how I felt.
So my question to
normal.
you is like
All normal.
did you because I don't have the answer. Did you find a balance? Because sometimes I get angry, like I just like fuck everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd be like, man, he was a great man. I'm gratitude.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd be like, damn, I wish he can see this. You know what I'm saying, Mo?
Right.
Like,
Sure, yeah.
Did you find that balance?
You know what? No, I haven't found that balance. But that being said, as the years go on, it doesn't get easier. It never gets easier, right? Because even the other day, man, today is April 5th. March 26th was what? Let's say 10 days ago, whatever it was.
That's an anniversary.
And his anniversary, like
year
I felt, because somebody was like, "Aren't you okay with it now?" No, fuck no, I'm not okay with it. What do you mean? Am I okay with it? That's a stupid question, right? Like no, but like I say to myself, I'm like, now it's 5 years. What's gonna happen in 10 years? Am I gonna still feel the same way, or am I gonna change? Yeah, I don't know, but. Yeah, man, it's tough, dude. It really is.
So the other day I had a patient. He's in his 70s, and his father passed away. His father was close to 100, if not a little bit over 100. And you would think, okay, they're 100. So, they lived their whole life. They've seen
Right,
great-grandchildren,
everything.
grandchildren, great-grandchildren. I mean, like, we all got to die. This is like, it's okay. But even that 70-something-year-old man,
Going through it.
he was still going through it because he's like, look, at the end of the day, dad is dad.
Right.
You know,
and that's
you
it.
can't stop that. You know, it's just like, I don't care if you're 80 years old and your dad passed away, he's 105 and he passes away. You're still going to be so upset and sad because that's still your father.
Right.
Your father's your father.
So I have a question, guys. And I'm ask you, what's worse, losing your mother or your father?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't even want to answer.
Like. What
You
do
know what?
think-
I got to tell you something though. Right now,
Yeah.
I lost my father, and thank God,
Yeah.
my mother's still alive and healthy. Right.
Right.
Her birthday's actually coming up soon. She'll be 80. So that's
Happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mom.
That's awesome.
Yeah, right.
But you know something, dude? Like, you can't. I don't know if you can even, like, I don't know if you can decide what's worse, right? You can't.
Yeah.
That's a trick question. I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah,
you know,
that's-
you know,
Yeah,
yeah.
mom is mom.
Mom
dad
is
dad,
mom, you know?
Mom is mom.
Both are very important. Your life. It's like, well, this is what people have told me. You know, thankfully, thank God, I still have both my parents. All right.
God bless.
Maybe they're not in the best of health, but still, I have them. Right. But you know, someone told me that, like, when you lose a parent, it's like losing a piece of yourself.
Yes.
Oh, it's 100%.
Right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
now, how do you ever get over losing a piece of yourself?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I don't think you do.
When I got the call,
Yeah.
got the call when my dad died, you know, it was my brother called me like, he said, Dad's in the hospital, he's having cardiac arrest. And mind you, he had a stroke, you know,
Right.
and then that stroke resulted in some other complications. And I'm driving there reluctantly to the nursing home. I'm like, I don't want to be the first person there.
Right.
Bro, I'm like, I don't want to. I was the first person there. I'm like, damn. And I'm always the first person. I was there for my grandmother.
Yeah.
First person there. I'm like, why am I always the first person to be the one that called everybody? So I go there. He's laying down. They got the sheet over his head. You know, I took the sheet off. I looked at him. He looked at peace, and I gave him a kiss on the forehead. And I said, it's okay, you know. Then my mom came in. Then she just went hysterical.
Yeah.
So I had to hold her.
Right.
And it's like, I have to be strong. Like, this is what I want to say.
Yeah.
I had no, you know, I have wife, children. I have no place to be vulnerable because I got to be strong
Right.
for everybody else. It's
Yeah,
like,
but you know what?
you know?
Everybody says that though, and it's, you know, the only the one thing that everybody says to you at like a funeral or like, you know, when somebody passes is, yeah, I'll be there for you and be strong.
I hate that.
Right? And you're like,
Bro, I
and
hate
after
that.
after like 5 times, I'm like, what the fuck are you gonna do? You know what? Bring him back.
Right.
Can you bring him back?
Yeah.
Because if you could do that, then we're cool. But if you can't, stop fucking saying that because there's nothing you can do, right?
Or Mo, dude, I hate this. If you need anything, anything,
I'm here.
I'm
here
I'm
for
here,
you.
yeah.
And then I'll be like,
Stay there.
I never see you in my life. Now you gonna,
Right.
like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And you never see these people
But
again.
I also understand that, you know, it's not, there's nothing really to say, right?
What
When
are they
somebody-
gonna say,
What are you going
right?
to say?
Someone's coming to
get
console
it,
you.
But it doesn't, when you're going through it,
Sure.
you're like, fuck you, dude. I don't know why you keep
Yeah.
saying that shit. Nothing you can do, you know? But I get it. When I take myself out of that and like look at it, I'm like, all right, I get it. What else are you going to say? Like, you know,
Oh,
look,
okay, that's a good way to look
you know
at
what I'm
it,
saying?
yeah.
Look,
Like,
for example, right? Let's say someone you know is grieving, right? They've lost a parent, a loved one, whatever it is. Now you go there, you go to the funeral, you see them, they're all upset and they're sad and everything. What do you say to them that you could even offer anything to console them a little bit, right? So they come up with something like that. It's very generic,
Right.
but hey, it's like, look, if there's anything you need,
Right.
you know, whatever, call
Right.
me, no big deal. blah,
right,
blah,
but
blah,
you, but
this
you,
and that, you know?
but that person
I
knows
know.
in their head, in your head, you're like, dude, there's what? Come on,
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's ridiculous. But I get it, right? So I get it. So that's why you're just like, oh, it's okay, thank
Yes,
you,
yeah.
you know.
I mean, you have to say something.
Right,
Joe.
you gotta
What
say
are you gonna just be like, listen, sucks. You
Right,
know, what
right,
are you gonna
right.
say? Come on, you know?
Yeah.
Right. That's man. I'm sorry to hear that, man. And,
Yeah,
and
me
I,
too,
And I see
yeah.
the closeness that you have with your dad. I see how
Yeah.
you get passionate when you talk about him.
Yeah, it's.
I mean,
it
Joe.
sucks, dude.
Joe has. He said. I asked him if I could bring this up too. Joe has dealt with a lot of death. Actually, recently he lost his. Not only did he lose his father, he lost one of his brothers and his sister-in-law, his brother's wife as well.
Yeah.
All very close. You know, very.
My dad
within-
died in 2019. My sister-in-law died in 2020, and my brother died in 2021.
You know, that's crazy because he has a similar story like me.
Mm.
My dad died in 2017. My brother died, murdered 2020.
Oh
and my
my God,
nephew to substance abuse 2021.
Wow, holy shit!
So it was like
One
it
after
was,
another
it was
after
like,
another.
It was like one after another after. It was like people was like, damn, it was crazy. And you know, my brother My brother passing was really.
I was in Detroit, and I got the call from Ajib, from your older brother, and
what did he say? I'm curious. What did he say to you when he called you?
I was in a hotel. I was there for business, and I was in Detroit, and I get this call early in the morning, and I get a call from like Ajib, and I'm thinking like, oh, whatever, what's going on? I was like, is everything all right? He goes, Mom. He's like, I'm like, what? He goes, my brother. He's like, dude. He's like, and I knew this brother too. He was a beautiful soul. Used to feed all the people every weekend. Would do a barbecue for them and everything. He was in Atlanta. He said, my brother's been shot. He's been murdered. Jesus. And I said, what? And I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, no. He's like, these guys rolled up on him. He drove a Mercedes-Benz or whatever, a nice vehicle, and they wanted the keys to the car. They wanted to mug him or whatever it was, and he was a big guy. You don't know his brother. His brother, very, very like intimidating big guy. Like you wouldn't want to mess with him on the street. I'll tell you that much. And he was like, absolutely not. I'm sure. And he, something broke out, and then he got shot, and he got shot a couple of times, and. I don't know if there was like a phone or his iWatch or Apple Watch, whatever it recorded.
So he called. He made a call, and he called a good friend of ours while it was happening. Yeah, and he heard what was going on.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah. And the funny thing about it is these low lifes, that's what I would call them. You know, they didn't even take it. Because in Georgia's a carrying state, so he had something on him. So they probably just shot quick because they saw that he had something on him. They didn't take anything. Everything was still there.
Holy shit!
They didn't take
that's
anything.
Crazy.
And he was 2 days leaving to go to his family in Africa, 2 daughters and a wife. Yeah. So that right there,
that sucks
when that happened, bro, that really, when I got that call, that I don't wish that on my worst enemy, bro. I don't wish that and then it's unsolved. Like.
To this day.
To this day, it's unsolved. It's like,
wow.
Yeah, the detective retired, and they put another detective on it, and it was like another black person.
Holy shit, that's crazy.
So now it's like, when I hear your story, or it just like, you know what happened, bro? Yeah. I created a crazy obsession now on YouTube. I watch nothing but sentencing videos.
Oh, is that right?
Fantasizing the killer getting sentenced to life in jail, 40 to life, 100 to life in the family. Right. I don't know. I just started watching nothing but sentencing videos. Yeah. Try to cope with it.
I would do that.
But it's like you don't know how to feel. But in the same breath of that, you say, you look at what he's left, his legacy, and you look at as Muslims we believe that he's shaheed, he will be interceded for,
because he defended his life.
He defended his life.
So you're a martyr.
He's like a martyr.
You're a martyr because you went down defending your life or your family or friend or whatever.
But yeah, man, he was 41.
He was very young.
Oh my God, very young. My brother was 47.
Yeah. And how did he pass?
He passed of accent. Yeah, I don't mind. He passed of a heart attack.
41?
47.
47, sorry.
Yeah, and I tell you,
that happens a lot.
Just like you, I still haven't mourned my brother, right? Like I honestly can't even. As a matter of fact, I've only he wanted to be in a mausoleum, right? So he didn't want to be under the ground. He wanted to be above the ground. So just the other day when I went to go visit my father, it was the first time I sucked it up and went to go visit my brother.
You didn't even visit him yet.
I hadn't visited him yet. Nope. Because I just honestly, man, even when I try to think about it, after like a minute, I got to change it because I can't. I literally have not mourned him at all to this day.
So I want to say this, as being a physician too. You don't realize you hit your 40s, right? Now you're technically middle age. You don't feel it. I'm 40. I still feel young, whatever. But this is the age where a lot of guys, they just drop dead.
Yep.
And I remember when I was young, when I was in elementary school, every year, there would be snowstorms and you would hear about someone's dad dying of a heart attack from shoveling snow or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is why it's so important in your 40s to really get your health in check. do some pre-screening, make sure you get your diet in check, your exercise in check, do your blood work, do everything, do what you can, stay healthy. This is where we start to get kind of like fat and lazy as well.
Right.
Like, maybe we're very healthy in our 20s and 30s, and then in our 40s we kind of let go. But this is where things go wrong.
Right.
So Mo, do you suggest, like, is heart attack very high for men in their 40s?
Well, it's prevalent. It's there.
And if you don't take care of
if you
yourself,
don't,
that's even more.
Yeah.
Right?
It's definitely the issue. Really is, look, especially certain ethnicities. Like, look, I have South Asian background, right? So South Asians are prone to heart attacks, right? So there's a lot of guys who are South Asian in their 40s who will drop dead of a heart attack. Or I've heard so many stories. I've heard other physicians too. One guy we knew was, lives pretty close to us, whatever. He was basically on his way at LaGuardia Airport. This happened. And mind you, I think he was a cardiologist. So look at that, right? He's a heart doctor. And he just basically fell unconscious waiting for his flight. And
Oh, my goodness.
people thought he was just sleeping. He was sitting there for hours. Finally, someone came over. The guy died. His heart stopped. I mean, he just died of a heart attack. That's it. His heart failed. That was it, And that happens a lot. That happens a lot. And that's why, we have to learn to manage our stress, our diet, our exercise. All these things are very important.
But it's not easy though.
No,
right?
nothing's
Right?
easy, Joe.
No, I
Nothing's
know.
easy,
but I'm saying, like, it's funny you said that too, because I was talking to one of my friends, and yeah, I'm 43. So me and my friend, my age group, 44, 45, those kind of guys.
Right.
We see that now is the time when a lot of people start passing. Like, we just had one of our friends from high school, not really friends so much, but we knew of her, just passed away, and we're like, holy shit, man! Like,
what was it? Right?
It just makes shit more real.
Yeah, so I get you two share something. The loss of brothers is a big thing, and loss of fathers.
Yeah.
It's a big thing.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know that, man.
I don't think there's really any way to really cope with the loss of like loved ones, especially the way you guys have done it. There's no right or wrong way, I would say. And this is kind of shows us you gotta be, if you're fortunate enough to still have your loved ones with you, really cherish them and hold on to them.
That's the truth.
And look, it also puts a lot of shit in perspective in your life.
Sure.
When you sit down and you think about it, it really makes you understand what's important, what's not important, what to stress over, what not to stress over, that kind of stuff. For me, at least, it did. I don't know if it did for you.
Yeah, after my dad, my brother, and my nephew, who was 29, after they passed, bro, I was like, okay, this is real.
Yeah.
This is real, and we all got a clock. And let me get some things taken.
Right, and you don't know that until you know that, right? Like, people can say when you're, oh, I understand how you feel. Do you understand how I feel? Because if you don't, if you haven't lost somebody, you don't know how I feel.
Bro,
Absolutely.
I washed my nephew's body. In Islam, we have to wash the body before we shroud it.
Yeah.
I washed his body. Now, I remember him being a baby and me playing Mario Kart with him and me.
You give me chills right now.
Yo,
dude.
bro,
That's
I
crazy.
washed his body. His father was so distraught. His father couldn't even walk in. His father was like in disbelief.
Yeah.
So I had to be strong for his dad and his mom. And it was just one of those things that I wouldn't wish on anybody.
Yeah.
But it's like the inevitable. We all
Right.
got
We all have to
pass.
We all have to pass.
It's true.
So, Joe, I want to switch gears a little bit here, and I want to talk about your love life, because it's been a very interesting love life, I must say. And
You sure you
and
wanna start this?
Listen, I want to start it because there's a lot of people who can relate to this. I'm being very honest with you. So I know you've been through some rough and rocky relationships before you met the right lady and got married to her, but even that was an interesting story in itself.
So before I tell you this, babe, I love you. So
He put out a disclaimer.
He put out the
Yeah, well,
disclaimer. He
I
doesn't
love
want to
it.
get
I
killed.
love it. I love it.
It's only a story.
It's a
only
story.
the story of our
It's a
love
story.
life. So
All right?
don't take it the wrong way. But no, for real. That was pretty crazy. Let me put this out here. So in the past, I've had a lot of stupid, girls and all that kind of shit.
What do you mean, stupid
Well,
girl?
we go through a lot of things that we meet a lot of people that we probably shouldn't meet. Maybe we're with some girls that we shouldn't be with, or the relationships are toxic and all that kind of shit, right?
Well, what was that like?
Well, we don't have to. That's a story for another day.
He trying to get you in trouble.
All I'm trying to say is, tell the viewers, like, okay, should you go through? Do you think it's important that you go through one or two toxic relationships, or best to just avoid them?
It's important to it's experience in life, right?
Okay.
So then you know what not to do. Just the thing is you have to realize that once you know it's toxic, you can't keep going back to it because it'll be 3, 4, 5, 6 years.
Can I just say something? One of my good friends, right? He tells me this. I don't want to say his name, but you know him well. And he said, and this guy, now he's much older, but he's like 61. All right.
Okay.
But when he was younger, he used to, he was quite the playboy, I'll say, whatever.
All right.
And he said, he's like, Mo, he's like, I'm going to tell you something. Toxic relationships. The problem with these girls, or these ladies, as he would put it, is they just were so dynamite in bed. And, and he'd be like, Mo, this is what would happen, right? He's like, all right, you're with them. They basically, they perform all kinds of acts. They, do all these things, just kind of sucks you back in. You go through all the toxicity, all the drama, all the headache, all the garbage, everything. And then, as a young man, he was a young man then, right? He realized, let's say 4 or 5 weeks in, okay, this isn't the girl for me. And as soon as you go to break up with her, they suck you right back in by basically giving you some crazy, blowjob, whatever it is.
They said the toxic girls got the best.
Is that true, Joe?
Why are you trying to give Joe trouble, man?
I just want to know.
Well, let's just put it this way. You wouldn't stay with somebody if like that part of the relationship wasn't good, right? Like if that part sucked and the other part sucks, then get the fuck out of my life, right?
No, but I'm saying as we get older, it doesn't matter how good that part is, how good the sex is or whatever. It doesn't matter. You still are like, I'm staying the hell away from this person because it's just not worth the drama. When you're a young man, you kind of you get fooled into it.
Yeah, of course. And you're also trying to figure out your shit too, right? Like, look, we all want love. We all want to find that person in our lives that we connect with and everything, all that kind of stuff. But again, going through that experience in life, like I said, I'm 43.
Right.
You start, when you're younger, you meet some people that, again, maybe you shouldn't have met or maybe you should have met because it teaches you a lesson and you learn, right?
I'm going to be honest with you right now. At 40, bro, it gives me 5 seconds, and I know if I want to be with her.
That's but
5 seconds.
5 seconds, right? But how about this though?
Bro.
When you were 20, did you take your 5 seconds?
No. I'm playing around.
There you go.
I'm playing around, taking her to the movies,
right.
and and I know she ain't no good. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like I don't have the patience all the time.
There you go. We did too many things going on in your life that you have to say, hey man, if this isn't going to be worth it, after 5 seconds, get the fuck out. So I'm going to move on.
Joe,
let's go.
Back to my original question. Is it worth going through 1 or 2 toxic relationships?
I think yes.
Will it train you for life?
I think so.
The viewers want to know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it is worth it because then you know what you want and what you don't want. So yes, it is worth it.
That's all I wanted to hear.
I don't know if I'm the epitome of what you should be listening to.
No, Joe knows. Joe knows.
But it got me to meet the girl that I'm in love with, the woman that I'm in love with, and that I want to spend the rest of my life with. So
and you have
if
3
that's the
children
case,
with? 3 beautiful children.
And if that's the case, then yes, it got me to where I needed to be and made me realize that when I met her, this is what I wanted and how I wanted to just end all the other bullshit.
Thank you.
Focus on that.
That's what I was getting at.
However, that being said, the way that this started and initiated was pretty ridiculous, and I'll tell you that now.
Oh, it was.
So I started a new job, and it was a good job, and I got really close with the boss, right?
Yes.
She was a woman. She was an older woman, but we got really close, and just close as in like friends-wise, right? So we started getting a lot of accounts and doing all this good stuff, and we were really good, at what we were doing, learning a lot of stuff. And after a certain point, we became like friends, right? So one day she was like, she always used to invite like all the employees over the house, over her house. So we would come over to the house, we'd hang out.
That's how it starts.
We'd drink, we'd play cards, whatever. Her husband was cool, everything was great, right? So one day I go over to the house, and her daughter walks down the stairs, okay? And in my head, I'm like, this girl's very attractive, but Joe, I'm not going to do anything because this is your boss's daughter. So you say anything or you look around. I just literally
Stable job, Joe.
Stable job, and we all know my past in jobs. This was the one I wanted to keep. So I was like, I ain't fucking doing shit. As a matter of fact, in my head, I go, if she introduces herself to me, I'm going to say hi, and I'm going to look at her in the eyes, and I'm going to just go on about my business, right? Okay, so that's what happened. She comes, oh, hi, how you doing? I go, nice to meet you. Get away from me. Right? Started hanging out and playing the games.
He's not that smart.
Fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. Don't play. I love you.
I love you too.
So a couple of weeks go by, right? Mm-hmm. Doing my job, everything's good. I'm driving, I'll never forget this, on 110, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to my apartment, and I get a ding on my phone. And I look at my phone, and I'm like, I don't know this number. And it says this whole big paragraph, and it's like, thank you so much for treating my mom good.
Ooh, that's how it starts.
Listen.
It's the beginning.
Listen. I hope it's okay, but I took your number from my mom's phone. Maybe we can go grab a drink one day, right? Now, I'm sweating. I'm like, holy shit, I'm fucked. I'm like, this is it. I'm
gonna lose my job.
This is it. I'm lose my job. This is the
first
one job.
Stable job, Joe.
That I'm doing good. I'm finally like happy in life. Like this is perfect. So I didn't write anything back. It took me 24 hours to write a message back because I'm like, it has to be fucking perfect, right? Mm-hmm. So after the next day, I still had it in. You know, when you type the message, you don't hit send. I had it there, and I'm looking at it like all day, right? And I'm like, this is it. This is the perfect one to send, right? Boom, hit send. It just basically said, oh, thank you so much. I'm very flattered. But unfortunately, you know, your mom is my boss and I can't, you know, get involved in this. You know, I don't know what you want out of it, but I don't think it would be right for me to, you know, go on a date with you or go get a drink.
He's a strong man. You know how many men would have said, F the boss, I'm going for it.
He's not that strong.
So
wait. All right,
so
just wait.
So I'm like, you know, thank you.
You know that saying, you don't shit where you eat?
Yes, that's
right?
exactly.
You know that saying?
You know, do you know who?
Yeah, I know. I know exactly who said that
wait,
to you.
But it gets better.
But
right?
hey, it works.
So I send that message, and now I'm feeling good, right? I'm like, she's going to get the picture. It's perfect. I get a message back. Ding, you know what it says?
What?
Yeah, I'll try it again tomorrow. And I'm like,
oh my God.
Fuck, dude. I'm like, I'm dead. I'm dead, right? So now a couple of days go by and I see her, right? And she actually worked for you for a little bit.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
That's right.
Wait, Mo set this up?
No, I didn't set it up.
He didn't set it up.
I did not
He actually
set it
worked
up.
for her for a short stint.
Right.
She was just worked in one of his offices.
Right.
So I go to the office.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh my God, you're
I'm leaving
right.
now. And I'm
this
leaving.
was around the same time.
Yeah. And I'm leaving, right? And I'm going to my car. And she goes, hey. She goes, come with me to get a drink real quick. Come on. She goes, just come with me for one drink.
Right now.
She's like, and I want to talk to you about my boyfriend. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. She goes, come on, just one drink, right? So I'm like, fine, one drink. I'll come with you for one drink. You tell me about your boyfriend, and then that's it. That's it. It's over, right? We go to this bar in Farmingdale. Yeah. Never left her since. Okay, but how the story goes.
What happened to the boyfriend?
Wait, what boyfriend?
Yeah, he was a loser.
Right. I think that was almost like an excuse just to get Joe to
It's definitely
come
an
out.
excuse, but this is what happened. So the story goes like this. So now I'm in my head. I'm like, I'm fucked because now this is her daughter, my boss,
Her only daughter.
her
Joe.
only daughter,
A princess.
princess.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And now, so what happens is. She starts staying over my apartment. We're hanging out
Romantically
a lot.
involved.
Right. But so now the thing is, like, she's very close with her parents. Like, she never sleeps out. She always slept home. So
they like, what's going on?
they go, what's going on, right? So now I had an apartment in Amityville, and we were staying there, and her mom would always. So the best part about it, so in the beginning, her boyfriend lived in Connecticut. This guy she was dating. Mm-hmm. So one day she's like, I'm going to drive there, and I'm going to break up with him, and I'm just going to come home, and I'm going to go to your place. And I was like, okay,
damn,
cool, right? But now, mind you,
a tough girl.
But now, mind you, nobody knows.
knew what she
Her
wanted.
parents didn't know. So she goes to my place after she breaks up with her boyfriend. Now I'm at her parents' house talking about work with her husband and her. We're just hanging out, because we would always do that. And her mom goes, it's really a shame, Joe, that you're a little older because you would be perfect for my daughter.
Oh.
I'm texting her now. She's like, I'm at your place. I'll wait for you here. As she's saying this, her mom, and I'm like, I'm so fucked. I'm like, my life is over. I can't believe that I'm doing this. Like, what am I doing? You know?
Right.
So that night ends. We go home. Now, my wife now, at that point, she was still attached to her parents. Like, she was still kind of young, so the credit cards were attached to there, the phones were attached to there, everything, right? So I lived in Amityville. And one day, we wake up in the morning, and she goes, "Oh, I need to go get gas." And I go, "Okay, no problem. Go down the block when you leave and get gas." So she gets gas, and we go about our day. I go to work. She goes to work. It's all good. So about, I don't know, a couple hours later, I get a text message from my boss, her mom, and she goes, "Hey, Joe, where do you live?" And my fucking heart stopped.
PSA to all the brothers: when anytime a woman asks you a question, they always have the answer.
Yeah.
She knew the answer.
She already knew the
So
answer.
now I go in like my car. I'm sitting there. I'm like shaking my leg. I'm like, "Fuck, man, I'm so fucked. Where do I live? What the fuck? You want to know where I live for, right?" So I call my wife, at the point, and I call her up. I go, "Hey,
Your mom wants to know where
I go, your mom's asking me where I live. I go, where did you get gas this morning?" And she goes, "Down the block like you told me." I go, "Did you use cash or a card?" She goes, "I used a card." Oh. I go, "You used the card of your mom's card?" She's like, "Yes." I'm like, "She knows where," she goes, "She knows." I'm like, "She knows
She obviously
where."
already
She knows that, right? So
She made the connection.
She made the connection. However, she knew she made the connection, but she didn't make the connection yet. Like, she's still asking me if I'm dating her daughter. So now I'm in the car with my soon-to-be wife, right, at that point. Right. And you know how, like, when the phone rings in the car, it's like comes on the screen?
Oh.
So wait.
Right.
So now the phone rings, and it's my boss. It's her mom.
Her mom.
She's sitting in the passenger seat. And I'm like, "I ain't answering that call." She goes, "Answer the call. You always answer my mom. Answer the call." So I'm like, fine. Hit the button. "Hey, how you doing?" She goes, "Good. Is my daughter in your fucking car right now?" And I was like, "No." I'm like, she is not in the car right now. You're crazy. She's like, "If my daughter's in your car now, I'm going to fucking kill you." And my heart stopped. And I was like, "No, of course she's not in the car right now. You're crazy."
Joe.
So whatever. We had a conversation on the phone, hung up. And I'm like, you know what? I'm dead. My life is over. I'm going to lose my job. We went back to my apartment.
First stable job gone.
First stable job gone. Went back to my apartment. And again, like, if you know me, as you can see, I'm very animated. I use my hands a lot. I'm very, like, my leg shakes. Went back to my apartment. I was pacing around the coffee table. I'm just saying, I'm dead. Your mother's going to kill me. My life is over. One good job that I had, fucking shot. Here we go. So...
Well, I mean, how'd she figure it out? Because she used a credit card?
Yeah, so what happened was in the morning she had to go get gas.
Right.
And I told her to go down the block to the gas station. And what she did was she used the card that her parents it was attached to her parents.
So they could see that it was in Amityville.
Right. So she must have saw that she got gas in
God.
Amityville and she fucking blew up my spot.
Yeah.
But you know what? It had to happen that way. Because if it didn't, it would have dragged on for how much longer, right? I mean, how much longer could that have gone on?
Oh, no, not much longer.
So
she wasn't that happy in the beginning?
She was not that happy, no. She was not happy because I'm a little older than my wife now.
Well, let's be fair to your now mother-in-law.
What's a little?
So let's see why she was unhappy. And you're a great guy, Joe. I love you very much.
Oh, thank you, Mom.
But at the time, your wife was only how old?
She was like 22.
22. She was a young girl. And you were how old?
I was like 34.
34.
So that's
that's 12 years different.
But
you know?
let me tell but guess what? Look, we all mature at different ages,
fine.
man.
It's
fine.
fine.
And if you would meet my wife right now, you would not have any idea. Maybe for me, I have a couple more wrinkles than she does, but you would not know that she is, that we're that far apart. She's actually older than I do, man.
But I think that's the way of the world.
Right.
Men like younger women.
Yeah, I think so.
You know what I'm saying? Disclaimer. I mean,
You better watch it now.
with everything going on with Diddy and R. Kelly,
God.
But that's a big difference, though.
It is a big difference.
Like a decade of a
Right,
difference.
but again,
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to defend the mother-in-law's perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she's thinking like, okay, this is my only daughter. She's 22. She's probably not thinking she's ready for like a serious relationship.
maybe you're right. I never looked at it that way.
Right?
But again, like I just said, she's the one who courted me,
She
man.
was the aggressor.
I was
She
the one who
doesn't-
tried to push her away.
Your mother-in-law did not know that at the time.
true, that's true,
Right?
yeah.
And also, like, she was probably thinking, okay, my daughter's 22. If she's going to be involved with someone, it's going to be someone within 1 or 2 years of
But
her age,
another
3
thing
years
is,
of her
the
age.
daughter probably was. She was like, not told about your wife, but she probably was really attractive. You know what I'm saying? So he couldn't resist. He couldn't resist.
I couldn't resist. Of course not.
I get it. It's the way yes, in especially if you look around the world, most of the time the man is a lot older than the woman. Except 10 years is no big deal, you know, or
Right, well,
12 years in your case, really not that significant.
12 years, 8 months. But no, honestly, like she is the best thing that ever happened in my life. And let me just say that honestly, that is the God's honest truth. I've been through a lot of shit, but she's been there through she's honestly, you know, when you know, right? That's what we you know, we all look for that. And when after, you know, I found her, like I was telling you, you know, my father too, he was a big, my father met all the girls I dated, you know, throughout the years, and he hated every single one.
Especially the toxic ones.
But when he met her, he takes me to the side, literally. I'm telling you, the first time he met her, takes me to the side. And if you knew my dad, he's a big guy. He was a big guy.
He was NYPD. He was the NYPD officer, detective,
narcotics
right?
cop.
Narcotics cop.
He would grab you by the arm, always. He'd always grab you by the arm because he's a big dude.
Right.
And you always trusted him, right? But he walked me over to the side. He met my wife, brings me over to the side, and he puts his arm around my neck, and he goes, if you fuck this up, I'll kill you. And I was like, I'm not gonna fuck this up, right? And she's the best thing ever, right?
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You know, so let me just tell you a little more of the story because it's funny how the whole thing went down. So now you heard that. Right. So now her mom knows that we're together, right? We'll put it out there. Now it's past the point. She knows we're together. Now I propose to her, okay? And then we get pregnant, okay?
He said we.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, we get pregnant, right? I mean, well, she gets pregnant, but we get pregnant.
No, how far into the relationship before she got pregnant, Joe?
We started dating in like the end of 2015-ish, like 2016. So she got pregnant 2016. So it wasn't too
it wasn't too long.
Yeah, we knew, you know, like I said, when you know, we knew we were going to be together forever, and that was the deal.
And again, Joe, because you've been with the wrong women,
you know the right
you
ones.
knew the right
Right.
ones.
Right.
So now we're pregnant, right? We found out we were pregnant late at night. So we immediately drove to my parents' house. You know, my parents loved Emily. Oh, excuse me. Well, whatever. Loved her from the beginning.
He can edit it out.
Yeah. So we get to my parents' house at 12:30 a.m. My mom opens the door. My mom really never sleeps. She opens the door and she goes, "You're pregnant." And we're like, "Yeah." She was all excited, all happy.
Very nice.
My father was actually sleeping at that point, so we're in the kitchen. My mom walks into my dad's room, my parents' room. And my mom goes, "Oh, the kids are here, and she's pregnant." My dad goes, "No shit." You know, so he came out, he congratulated us. Fine, right? So then we have to tell her parents now that we're pregnant, right? So one day she's like, after work, we'll go to my parents' house, we'll eat dinner there, and we'll tell them that we're pregnant. You know, it's exciting stuff. I'm kind of nervous. Your mom's gonna kick my fucking ass. So she's like, "Well, it'll be fine." So I'm like, "I'll meet you at the house after, and I'll meet you at the house after. You meet me there." She's like, "Fine." So I get there first, right? There's like literally, dude, 25 cars out in front of the house. I call her up.
What's going on?
I call her. I'm like, "Hey, babe. I don't know what you're doing. There's a party at your house. What's going on?" She's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "I think your aunt, your uncle, your grandmas, your cousins, they're all here." She's like, "Well, we're not going to tell them today then." I'm like, "Fine, good. We're not telling them today. Perfect." So now she comes home. We're all hanging out with the family. And now, again, she's young, so her credit cards are attached to her parents still, and her cell phone. So now I'll never forget this. So we're in there, we're hanging out, and I'm walking over to the fridge. I put my hand on the fridge, and her dad goes, "Hey, what is this app on my phone, What to Expect When Expecting?" And I was like, "Oh, fuck." So I turn around and I'm like, you, let's go outside. Right?
That's it.
We go outside and we tell her parents that we're pregnant. Her dad was like ecstatic, so happy. He's the best guy in the world. He's awesome. Her mom wasn't like the happiest at that point. Let's just be honest. I mean, and look, I love her. But you know, at this point in our relationship and in our lives, like we had a little animosity.
Listen, it's understandable.
She didn't love me at that point.
Understandable.
Were you still working for her?
Yes.
Oh my God. So she couldn't fire you yet.
No,
Because you were the daughter.
Yeah.
That's like the insurance.
Exactly. That's
a
what I'm doing, dude.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. He's a smart guy.
Okay, now she's stuck, dude. She can't fucking fire me.
That's right.
Or else her daughter will hate her. So now we're fucking good. So yeah, it was a bumpy road, man. It was a crazy ride. Like, listen, and that just seems like I have those things in my life that it's like really again like this kind of crazy shit. Like, I got to go through this, but at the end of the day. Like you said, I have 3 beautiful kids.
Yeah,
everything is cool now. I've never been happier, like in our relationship. Like, I love you, babe. But the story's a good story. So it just goes to show you that, like, look, I'm a true believer in everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
I honestly am. I really, that's a cliche statement. A lot of people say that kind of thing, but I do think it's the truth. And if you have your mind right and you do the right things and you're still a good person, things will come. Right? Good things will come to you. I mean, it's just the way of the world, I think. So, it was a crazy story. It was pretty cool. And look at me now, right?
Well, now things are good with the mother-in-law.
Yeah, everything's good.
Yeah,
everything's cool,
great.
right? It took a little bit. It did. I won't lie. It took a little bit. It took a while actually to get everybody on the same page. But look. You got 3 beautiful kids that we brought into the world, and let's we'll be a happy family.
And Joe's leaving out. He eventually switched jobs for one last time.
Yeah,
and then,
that's when he met you.
Yeah, no, I had met him a long time ago, but we had finally started because he had all this lab experience, and then we found out we could do something called a POL, a physician office lab. And I said, Joe, would you like to run the lab? It'd be your thing. Nobody to really tell you what to do or anything. It's completely independent, and with his personality, it worked really well, and we've never looked back since.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been great.
That's great. Well, thank you, Joe, man.
Yeah, man, of course, man.
Stories has been crazy, man.
Well, I mean, it's good. Look, he took you through, I think, a lot of stories and a lot of experiences that everyday people have, whether it's from college, love, relationships, job, death, personal death.
It's beautiful.
Really, really beautiful stuff. And I think, a lot of people can really benefit from this and from your experience. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you guys very much for having me. I'd like to come back again.
Part 2.
This is a really great platform too you guys have. So it's really cool. I like listening to it, and
thank you.
And I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you, Joe, man. And make sure you're tuning in for the next episode. We got some great guests coming, man. Stay tuned. Peace.